We will call to order the regular board meeting of the Chicago Board of Election Commissioners. Good morning. My name is Maricel Hernandez. I'm the chair, and with me today is Commissioner William Cressy
Present.
and Commissioner June Brown.
Present.
Next on the agenda is the consideration of the agenda. Any proposed changes? If not, today is an organizational board meeting as well. And we need to elect the officers. First item is the election of the chair. Is there any motion?
I would be so privileged if I could make the motion to renominate Maricel Hernandez as chair of this august body.
And I second it.
Oh, thank you. Properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, please state aye.
Commissioner Cressy votes aye.
Commissioner Brown votes aye.
Motion passes. Thank you both. Next item is the election of the secretary. Is there a motion?
I nominate Commissioner William Rod Kresge to continue as the Secretary of the Board of Election Commissioners for Chicago.
And I will second that.
For the record, Fraud is not my middle name. It's Professor Fraud.
The motion has been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, please state aye.
Commissioner Brown votes aye.
Commissioner Hernandez votes aye.
And I'll make it unanimous. I'm voting for myself. Commissioner Cressy votes aye.
Thank you. And so the motion passes unanimously. Thank you both. Next is the adoption of the bylaws, which we do at every organizational board meeting. Mr. Lasker?
Madam Chair, as you commissioners know, we've circulated some, the bylaws with some proposed amendments, and pursuant to Article 5, we request that they be adopted for the upcoming year.
Okay. Do we have any comments or questions? If not, is there a motion to approve the bylaws as amended?
So moved by Commissioner Cressy.
Seconded by Commissioner Brown.
Properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, please state aye.
Commissioner Cressy votes aye.
Commissioner Brown votes aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Now we will proceed with the regular board meeting, and that includes the minutes of the regular board meeting of September 12th, 2023. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
Commissioner Brown moves to approve the minutes from September 12, 2023.
Is there a second?
Second by Commissioner Cressy.
Properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, please state aye.
Commissioner Brown votes aye.
Commissioner Cressy votes aye.
Motion passes. Next is the Executive Director's Report. Mr. Holliday.
Morning, Madam Chair, Commissioner Brown, and Commissioner Cressy. I would first like to congratulate Commissioner Brown on her reappointment.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you aboard here with us. We had another job fair on November 9th. Our Assistant Director, Sandra Sprayer, will give more details. Community Services Department has attended a few outreach events that including recruiting of judges and election coordinators, registering voters, handing out forms to join the permanent vote-by-mail roster. To name a few, Chicago Housing Authority, Polish American Conference with the Director of Civic Engagement of City Colleges, Blind Services Chicago. This event centered around visually impaired voters. They spoke on how pleased they were with our service, and our staff mentioned being there helped them to understand better how to train our judges to be more efficient when processing visually impaired voters. It is the consensus of the staff after the citywide binding referendum to go with the 22-inch ballot so that we're ensured that there is enough room on the ballot for that question and the possible other two questions that's up in the air. Our second notice canvass mailing of over 130,000 return mail is scheduled to be mailed by the first week of December. We've contacted our election drop box locations for the upcoming election, Wintrust Arena, United Center, and the Chicago Cubs, awaiting if they will still host our drop boxes. Myself, along with Max Bever, our public relations director, will be meeting with Carolina D. Lopez, Executive Director of Partnership for Large Election Jurisdiction. She reached out to me ahead of the 2024 election to be helpful to us and to plan ways we can get more involved in their monthly panel series and to expand our partnership. She's had a tour of our office, and our Public Relations MAC Director has had part of their panels on marketing and social media. And the staff, we're just preparing for the upcoming elections and putting things in order. So ends my report.
Okay, so within the next meeting, will we have the beginning of the filing period?
November the 27th, start the filing period. So that's a day before our next meeting. Yeah, 27th is, it's the end.
Yeah.
No, I believe the 27th is the first day.
December, yeah, starts until,
Okay, and are we, where will the filings occur?
Well, the board, we're not accepting any filings. They're filed
Oh.
with Springfield and the county. Any filings that have an objection that is wholly in the city or partly in the city, we will hear those objections.
Right, okay.
and where would those filings, the objection filings, when do those begin?
That's December.
They begin the day after the filing period, so it's the five business days after the filing period.
Okay, so, gotcha. Thank you.
Okay. Great, thank you. Mrs. Spera?
Madam Chair, good morning, Commissioner Carsey, Commissioner Brown.
Morning.
The Judges Department has issued yes and no letters to 4,891 active election judges who worked in the April 2023 election to confirm their participation in the upcoming March 2024 primary election. To date, there are 2,099 election judges and also 300 election coordinators that will be returning. While at the warehouse recently, I reviewed with Dominion representatives the steps for the upgrade and maintenance of the voting equipment. The warehouse has deconstructed and removed any labels identifying the Chicago Board of Elections from the old e-poll books for all 50 wards, and extra should be completed soon. A job fair for the part-time positions at the warehouse was held Friday, October 27th at the warehouse, and a job fair for poll workers and part-time positions for all divisions was held last week on Thursday, November 9th at the super site. Staff will be meeting with the post office management this week to communicate our mailing needs for the 2024 election cycle.
Okay.
And this concludes my report.
How did the job fair turn out?
For the warehouse, I believe we had about 26 visitors, and currently they have 22 part-time staff. And for the downtown area, I believe there was 50 applications. We had a little bit less traffic than the previous one, but currently we do have 18 active positions here, part-time, working here in our downtown office.
18 positions that are open?
No, 18 part-time staff. There are 12 open positions here in our office currently.
Okay.
How many at the warehouse? You said you had 36 come, but how many open positions?
So we don't have any open positions at the warehouse. So let me rephrase that. We have 22 part-time
Okay.
employees. And downtown, we have 18 part-time employees.
Okay. Do we know when we're having another job fair?
It has not been communicated to me just yet.
Okay.
Mhm.
We do have 5 professional postings up on our bulletin and our website.
Okay.
And I'll be working with HR.
All right, great.
Okay. Thank you. Next, we have our Public Information Director, Max Bever.
Morning, Commissioners. A few updates from communications on our end. My first is always looking towards our new website launch, which is now about a month away. This week we start testing and training with staff members, including myself. And we look forward to inviting our community partners to take an early look in the first couple of weeks of December. So I know League of Women Voters, Rainbow Push, others here will be reaching out in the near future. We want to give you a look and presentation and run through the new resources before we go live in mid-December. As the Executive Director mentioned, our last large mail piece of the year is our second notice, going out to just under 130,000 voters where the mail had bounced back. That puts us on par in previous years, so nothing to above that number or below that number. We were able to still come in on time and under budget for our canvass this year, so ultimately looking pretty successful for this canvass. Obviously, we will hold another one in between elections in 2024, but this is the last large mail piece for 2023. But we are planning our email and mail communications around the start of vote-by-mail applications, which opens on December 20th. That will coincide with the launch of our new website. So we are planning an email to all registered voters in the city of Chicago, letting them know vote-by-mail applications are open, as well as our permanent vote-by-mail application, roster application being online now for the first time. So we'll send that to all registered voters. Then we're going to also reach out to all of our permanent vote-by-mail roster people just to confirm their information heading into the primary, as well as their preferred primary ballot. We know that many people change their desired preferred party heading into these elections. Also letting them know that we have this online application option that will allow them to change that info, change their address, opt out, make any changes to their permanent roster. So we're taking that off of paper and bringing that back online. But we will also do a mailing to everyone that we had not heard from our permanent roster, just to make sure that we reach them heading into March 19th. As the Executive Director also mentioned, our Community Services team has been partnering with 2 different city agencies quite regularly and to good success with the Chicago Housing Authority at several resource fairs, 3 resource fairs, and they have 1 more scheduled this week, as well as their partnerships with city colleges. There are now monthly events they're holding at all of their schools. Community Services has been present at Malcolm X and Harold Washington for classroom presentations and election judge recruitment, and they'll continue that moving forward through the end of the year. And I'd like to say a special thank you to League of Women Voters for helping put together an event last week called What is AI and How It Could Put Elections and Democracy at Risk. I felt this was a very informative event, especially for an election communicator like myself, about what's on the horizon. More of a discussion of topics of what's changing in campaigns and communications to voters, rather than, say, digital attacks and others. But I feel like this was a good resource for me, for voters, and we're happy to share that video moving forward. We'll share it with the commissioners as a reference. I think there is a lot of good info there to be knowledgeable heading into what seems to be some open questions into 2024. And I believe that ends my report.
Okay. Any questions? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now we'll proceed with old business, infrastructure projects and changes in election administration, including electronic poll books and voting equipment. Any updates on that?
All the electronic poll books, they're being delivered, and the other voting equipment is being prepared for the 2024 elections.
Okay. Thank you. We'll then proceed with legislation. Mr. Lasker?
Madam Chair, the General Assembly adjourned until the middle of January. They did not take any action on anything directly related to elections. There was a bill that was pending on the school board elections that would have changed things somewhat substantially, but that didn't pass. So we'll have to wait now until January to see if things are going to stay as is from the legislation they enacted a few years ago, or if they're going to make additional changes. For example, currently, 10 out of the 20 districts will be elected in the November 2024 election. The proposal was to have all 20 of them elected. But again, that didn't pass. So
We still don't have a map, do we?
We don't have a map. The petition circulation period for the candidates will begin on March 26th. Then on April 1st is the General Assembly's own deadline to finalize the map, so that would be after the circulation period begins. Then the petition filing period is June 17th to the 24th, with the objection filing deadline on the 1st of July. So that follows the same, that's the same for the independent and nonpartisan and new party candidates. So that's the way the law is currently written. We'll have to wait till January to see if there's going to be any changes.
Okay, now when you said that the legislation didn't pass, it wasn't put up for a vote, it just was never brought up.
I think it may not have reached a vote.
Yeah.
I actually have it on my...
That was my understanding.
Mhm. I think we had two versions of the
Yeah, 'cause
bill,
then
the
it was
House and the
amendments.
Senate.
Yeah, and they adjourned before
They passed the
voting.
Senate, and then they adjourned the House.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's...
One other thing, the executive director said, we have our objection hearings coming up
Yes.
for districts that are partly in Chicago. I understand there was legislation passed that for the Illinois Senate districts, even if they do have parts in Chicago, those challenges will be heard by the county.
That's correct.
Okay, so that's been taken away from us.
Correct.
Okay.
So we have congressional districts, state representative districts, ward committee persons, and then any local referenda petitions. The local referenda petitions, too, for advisory questions are filed in our office. So when we mentioned petition filing earlier, as usual, a small amount of those come in usually every election, but no candidate filings with us.
So they'll be filed on the sixth floor, not at the super site?
Yes, the referendum petitions would be
Right.
filed here on the sixth floor, correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Let's proceed now to new business. The first is an approval of a contract with SKU Corporation for new development of various software and computer system enhancements. And who will speak to this?
Well, Madam Chair, we do have Clinton Hurd, the manager of pre-election voting logistics, in the room to answer any specific questions. The purpose of this contract is to create many new computer modules that will help various different departments, primarily Mr. Hurd's, but also others. So I don't know if you did have, I've
Yeah.
provided you with some summaries. If you have any questions, Mr. Hurd is here.
Okay. Hi, Clint.
Good morning.
Good morning. So this is kind of divided up into various, as you said, different modules or different areas?
Yes.
Yeah.
Overall, it's a system helping the board be more capable of tracking our voting equipment, for instance, at the warehouse, in and out of the warehouse, he's updating things on module, letting our staff do more things than we were able to do. So what happens basically is that we're learning from election to election as we update this, that there are better things, better ways of doing things.
Right.
So we sit down with SKU and walk through some things that we need. That would include our warehouse tracking system, which is coming online, which are making more changes to enabling us to look at our early voting equipment, drop boxes, ESCs in and out in the field. Nursing homes, creating a help desk, assignment for our judges and coordinating that with our investigators at locations. Tracking of any changes, forms, all within our system. So we can easily get to those and track those and retrieve those. As well as early voting, changing assignments within our system. Hopefully being able to put that in our system and be the IVRS system instead of having to do it in both places. The new interface with along with the e-poll books and payroll, as well as the voter mail blast enhancements. We're also looking at polling places and being able to redo that in order to input the new ADA requirements in and kind of rebuild that system as well.
Okay, thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, this contract is scheduled to go through September 2025. Do we have a timeline as to when these modules would be provided and up and running for us?
Some of them actually he's already started working on and has flipped for this upcoming election.
Good.
A few of them are larger, like the polling place remodel, which won't take place until later this year after the election. The warehouse tracking, he's added those updates. He's working on the nursing home, so the nursing home project will be almost completely done, or the parts we need, by the March election, as well as the early voting. But there's different parts of that that we can't all implement because it affects something else.
So we should have them all by the November general election, for the most part.
That's the plan.
That's the plan. Very good, thank you.
Okay.
I have a question. I see that this is sole source. I don't know if that's you. Is there a particular justification for why, was it bidded out and they're the only ones that met these needs, or?
No, it's not bid out because it qualifies as sole source. SKU Corporation and its president, Jong Lee, have developed the board's voter registration database and several other computer systems, and they have a proprietary ownership on the software coding and so forth. So they're the only company on the market that's got the, the ability to create add-ons for the computer systems that the board is already using.
And the date, I heard Mr. Hurd say that they've already started, so the date for a start date is November the 14th?
That's today. Yes.
Right. We're not rolling it back, or they're already under contract?
Today is the start day. Apparently, they've started some of the work.
Mhm.
It's the contract calls for monthly payments, so they would receive the monthly payment for this month of November. And that's the first of the 24 months in the time period. So we're not rolling it back, except to the extent that they will be paid for the month of November, which seems fair because apparently staff has directed them to get started.
And you said the sole source is because they're the only ones that can meet our particular needs?
Well, since they have a proprietary ownership in the software of the underlying systems, that's a lawful restriction on who can
Right.
access and add on to.
But it was your comment that
And-
they're the only ones that meet the CBOE's needs.
Correct. And we
And I know sole source, there's a requirement, justification.
yeah, and there's other elements that can go in it as well, like your specific needs for the agency, and what we really need is someone who's extremely familiar with the internal systems, rather than someone who's going to come in and learn the entire system and then create add-ons for it, because there would be a much higher cost to that. But primarily the reason is the lawful proprietor ownership interest of the underlying software, which they've developed.
And Mr. Hurd, have we been satisfied with the work from SKU to date?
Yeah, as I said, they started a couple of things because we were pushing them to, we really want this for March and get it done. So they're really good at giving us what we want.
But historically, we've been satisfied with their work.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
they're really good at doing
Okay,
it.
thank you.
Okay. Are there any further questions? No?
I'm good on it.
If not, is there a motion to approve a contract for the new developments with SKU Corporation in an amount not to exceed $144,000 over the full term of the contract, which shall begin on November 14, 2023, and continue through September 30th, 2025?
So moved by Commissioner Cressy.
Seconded by Commissioner Brown.
Properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, please state aye.
Commissioner Cressy votes aye.
Commissioner Brown votes aye.
Motion passes. The next item on the agenda is approval of a contract amendment with SKU for ongoing maintenance and support of the board's voter registration database and other computer Systems. And,
We're not through with you yet, Mr.
Clint?
Hurd.
how is this one different from what we just approved?
Well, this is the voter registration. That would be more of he's combining things with our registration department, making it, I would call it more sleek and user-friendly, enabled for the voters, as well as the website. Also helping us to our application process, scan, doing those things for us.
Madam Chair, if I may add to that, what Mr. Hurd was mentioning was some of the new developments that SKU Corporation and Jong Lee created under its prior new developments contract. So what we are amending right now is its ongoing maintenance and support contract, which was approved earlier this year, in June. It's a 2-year contract. So that's the big contract that keeps things going on the big systems like the registration database. But what we've done historically and what we're asking for now is that when there's a new developments contract like the one you just approved, when those new developments are completed, they then get shifted into the ongoing maintenance and support contract. So we're taking things from the old new developments contract, those projects are completed and implemented now. So at no additional cost, the contract terms are going to remain the same. We're just adding that to the list of items that SKU provides ongoing maintenance and support.
And just for the record, counsel, I'd like you to repeat again, that's at no additional cost.
That is correct.
Very good, thank
Yep.
you.
We're not amending anything other than the scope of services on this contract.
Okay. Any further questions, comments? If not, then is there a motion to approve the amendments to Section 1 Scope of Services of the Board's Maintenance and Support Contract with SKU Corporation with all other material terms remaining the same?
So moved by Commissioner Brown.
Seconded by Commissioner Cressy.
Properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, please state aye.
Commissioner Brown votes aye.
Commissioner Cressy votes aye.
Motion passes. The next item is approval of a contract with a meeting tomorrow for the rental of laptop computers and related services. And this is Matt Lynn is going to speak to this. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning.
So meeting tomorrow is an equipment.
Turn on the microphone.
Oh, sorry.
There you go.
So meeting tomorrow is a leasing company that lease equipment for events. So they rent out audios, visual, iPads, iPhone, laptops. So every election we lease laptops from them to set up varieties of events like early voting, jail voting, nursing home, election central, and warehouse and others. So for these upcoming elections, I would like to lease 360 laptops from them to set up all the events for the upcoming elections.
Again, their services have been
Oh, they're
satisfactory in the
great.
past.
Every single time we have an issue, they will give us a replacement the next day.
Excellent.
Yeah. So we have been using them for almost every elections.
If there is no further comments or questions, is there a motion to authorize the executive director to execute an agreement with Meeting tomorrow for the rental of 360 business laptop computers for the March 24 primary election at a price not to exceed $72,713?
So moved by Commissioner Brown.
And seconded by Commissioner Cressy.
Properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, please state aye.
Commissioner Brown votes aye.
Commissioner Cressy votes aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Matt. Next is the approval of a professional services agreement with Lance Goff. Mr. Lasker?
Well, I'm not sure if you know him, so let me introduce to you Mr. Goff, his blue sweater over there. As you well know, he's been serving as an executive consultant, an election consultant with the board since his official retirement. And it would be nice to have him carry through one more presidential election. And so that's the request, to keep him around, get us through one more time.
Did the candidate submit a CV? I haven't seen it.
I think it's written on the wall here.
Any other questions or comments? If not, is there a motion to approve a professional services agreement with Lance Goff for executive consulting services with compensation not to exceed $100,000 over the term of the agreement, which shall begin on December 1st, 2023 and continue through December 31st, 2024?
So moved by Commissioner Cressy.
Seconded by Commissioner Brown.
Properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, please state aye.
Commissioner Cressy votes aye.
Commissioner Brown votes aye.
Motion passes, and we have a contract with Mr. Goff. Thank you, Mr. Goff. Yes.
Thank the board members for this. And I promise that I will take care of whatever you need.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lance. Now we go into some professional services agreements with certified forensic document examiners, and this is in preparation for our upcoming hearings.
That is correct, Madam Chair. This is actually one of my favorite parts, because one of the things I'm most proud about with this electoral board is that since long before I was a part of the team here, it's been committed to having certified document examiners, otherwise known as handwriting experts, to review the work of our clerks that are done during the records examinations during electoral board proceedings. To my knowledge, we're the only electoral board in the state that uses certified experts in that regard. For several years, we've been using the services of Ellen Schutzner, and I'd like to bid her a fond farewell as she has reached her retirement, so she's not going to be coming back this year. But she knew that that was coming, and so over the past few electoral board cycles, she has brought in as subcontractors, and we've had some direct contracts with Kevin Kulbaki, William Riordan, and Thomas Vastrick. So all three of them already have experience working with our team on the electoral board cases. They've done a great job of doing so. Very professional in their work, very expedient in their work. So we are requesting those PSAs now to get us ready for the hearings to begin on December 18th. I would also point out that Ellen has done some work previously, and the contract will allow for these three, at the request of any of our management here, to help create educational materials for election judges and election officials and others who do signature comparisons during the vote by mail and at the precincts for checking in voters and so forth. So we've done a little bit of that in the past, and I think that's something as we transition into a newer website, some more of that can be performed with these experts as well.
Excellent.
Okay, thank you. If there are no further questions or comments, is there a motion to approve the professional, individual professional services agreements with certified forensic document analysts Kevin Kulbaki, William Riordan, and Thomas Vastrick at the rate of $300 per hour, not to exceed $100,000 per contract over the full term of each agreement, which shall begin on December 1st, 2023 and continue through November 30th, 2024.
So moved by Commissioner Brown.
Seconded by Commissioner Cressy.
Properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, please state aye.
Commissioner Brown votes aye.
Commissioner Cressy votes aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Next, we have contracts with several vendors for printing services procured through an invitation for bids issued on October 22nd, 2022. Mr. Lasker or Ms. Robles, who would be?
Well, I think these are just contract extensions, so I'd be happy to handle it. If you have any specific questions about the printing needs, both Ms. Robledo and Ms. Sheehy are available to answer those questions. As you mentioned, in fall of 2022, the board did an IFB, invitation for bids, on various printing projects, very specific, with 9 different categories of specific printing needs. The board awarded contracts on November 22nd of 2022, and we're seeking to extend those contracts because we have the same kind of printing needs. Those printing needs were for the 2023 elections. We now have them for the 2024 elections. The contracts are capped at certain rates, so you would be, because we're just extending the contracts another year, there would be those same caps. But I've been informed that the quantities and kinds of documents needed would fall beneath the caps for most, if not all, of these contracts. Nonetheless, just as a technicality, that's why we're extending the contract so it re-ups those caps.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions or comments?
One quick question. Are we using the same I voted stickers that we've used in the past? Or are we changing the design?
We will be changing the design for 2024.
Very good. Thank you.
To kind of tailor-make it towards a presidential election year, I think is the idea, if I may speak for Mr. Bever.
Make it a collectible item at this point, but yes, we will.
I was going to say, it's become like very popular with a lot of people, so I'm glad we are doing that.
We got a goose voter turnout whatever way we can.
We're better than baseball cards. I would also point out that we are planning, Ms. Robideau's office is planning a secondary, we're going to do another IFB for additional printing needs. So these are for the pre-existing needs that happen again and again from election cycle to election cycle. But we are in the process of preparing another bid for some newer printing needs.
Okay. And so these, just very quickly, just for the record, these printing with these vendors are Grace Printing for dated form, capped at $233,147. Cardinal Color Group, generic forms capped at $20,745. Liberty Creative Solutions for envelope, capped at $355,258.65. Grace Printing dated signs capped at $15,635. Cardinal Color Group for generic signs capped at $11,320. Grace Printing for banners capped at $1,932. Lake County Press for the 2024 Election Judge Handbook capped at $223,198.32. J.J. Collins and Sons for the I Voted stickers capped at $67,205. And J.J. Collins and Sons again for the hybrid form envelope capped at $71,400. Is there a motion to authorize the executive director to execute the board's options to extend its 9 printing contracts with 5 vendors that resulted from the board's 2022 invitation for bids for printing services with extended durational terms of November 22nd, 2023 through November 21st, 2024, with all other terms and conditions remaining the same in the board's contracts with Grace Printing, Cardinal Color Group, Liberty Creative Solutions, Lake County Press, and Collins and Sons.
So moved by Commissioner Cressy.
And seconded by Commissioner Brown.
Properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, please state aye.
Commissioner Cressy votes aye.
Commissioner Brown votes aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. And we also have up for approval a contract extension with Veritex Legal Solutions for court reporting services. Mr. Lasker?
Thank you again, Madam Chair. Veritext has been performing for us very, very satisfactorily for the past few electoral board cycles. So we would like to extend the contract through the March primary cycle for this winter's electoral board.
Okay. Any questions?
I do.
Mm-hmm.
It said it extended, but I see that it ended on March 22nd of 2022. So did this didn't have to be rebidded or anything like that?
Well, since we're moving forward on the procured amounts and procured prices, it still is a government procured rates and so forth. There was actually an error in the contract document because when the board took its official action in the meeting in March 2022, the contract was approved through the end of this year. However, the written document said that it was approved for a 12-month period. So our records, our internal records, which are based upon the board's official actions, had it in our system as expiring at the end of this year, which technically, legally, is the action that the board approved at its meeting. However, the written document contract said just a 12-month period, so that was the error.
All right, so well, given that statement, our contract management database will take care of that kind of thing, or?
Yes,
don't know.
that's the
Okay.
idea,
And
yeah.
that's the net woven, right?
Correct.
So it actually would have ended 12/31/2023,
Correct.
and we're just extending it for another year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is okay, at the mutual agreement. If one were to determine that the contract ended because of the written document, then Veritex would no longer be bound to provide us services at the rates that were publicly bid. But by mutual agreement, those are publicly bid pricing. So that's acceptable. Technically, legally, the board approved the contract through the end of this year, so we're sort of in this area where either way, it's,
Okay.
I believe in
I don't
appropriate
want to hold it up, but, okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? If not, is there a motion to authorize the executive director to execute the board's option to extend its contract with Veritex Legal Solutions for an extended term of December 1st, 2023 through April 30th, 2024?
So moved by Commissioner Brown.
Seconded by Commissioner Cressy.
Properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, please state aye.
Commissioner Brown votes aye.
Commissioner Cressy votes aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Next is a legal report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We've already discussed some of it. We are preparing for the electoral board hearings. We've got 21 returning hearing officers who have agreed to serve and are prepared to attend a training session, the annual briefing and training session will be on November 30th. Hearings begin December 18th. You did hear from Mr. Holliday that staff has settled on the need for a 22-inch ballot. That's the longest paper size that is common, at least for ballots around this area. And that would allow for a one-sheet ballot, front and back. We have sometimes used what we would call a two-card ballot, where it's actually two pieces of paper for a four-page ballot. That can cause room for error in the precincts in particular. But we have not, in recent memory at least, under the current and modern technology that the board is using, we have not had a two-card ballot in a political party primary, as we are seeing this March. Keeping in mind, in the primary, we have ballots provided for multiple political parties, so there's multiple kinds of ballots. And then to throw on top of that having two sheets, we would much rather avoid doing that. So we're hoping that everything will fit on the 22-inch ballot. Our main concerns are that the presidential delegate and alternate delegate contests can become extremely lengthy. We have no idea how long they're going to be until, when is that filing period? Sometime in December, I think, or maybe.
December 4.
Yeah.
No, for that, I don't know.
It's later
It's
filing.
later than
it's
that,
later-
yeah.
It's a later filing period than the standard, than the other candidates. And then also, I have here, it's been in the news and so forth, but, the city council did pass what's really a 4-paragraph long citywide binding referendum, so that it's going to go on all of our ballots citywide, and that takes up a great deal of space too. So we're hopeful things will be able to fit on the 22-inch ballot so that we don't have to expand to the 17-inch two-card ballot for
And
a
this would be
primary.
22 on both sides.
22 both sides, correct. Yeah.
Will there be any problem with vote by mail?
Well, the only issue is that there are a tremendous number of sort of logistical reasons that the precinct ballots and the vote-by-mail ballots must be the same size. So it's the complications of a two-card ballot really in the precinct that are the bigger concern. But if the precinct ballots are going to be 22 inches, then the vote-by-mail needs to be 22 inches.
Will that increase postage costs?
I don't think
Probably
it does.
not that much, yeah.
It actually, I think, is less expensive because I think it's less paper overall
Oh, because
than
it's
the
one
two-card
sheet of paper,
17s.
yeah.
So the two 17s would be heavier than the 122.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. We have no financial report today. I did not get any requests for public comment. And there is no need for executive session.
Correct, Madam Chair.
Okay, as a result, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved by Commissioner Brown.
Seconded by Commissioner Cressy.
Properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, please state aye.
Commissioner Brown votes aye.
Commissioner Cressy votes aye.
Motion passes and we're adjourned. Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.